Alright guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be looking at some of the best budget mountain biking gear. Let's get into it. Firstly, we're going to take a look at helmets. In my opinion, the most important piece of gear. A helmet is definitely something you shouldn't cheap out on because it protects your head. Ideally, you're going to want to have a helmet with MIPS, which is a rotational protection system. You can tell if your helmet has MIPS by checking for a yellow sticker that says MIPS on the back of it. Our first and cheapest helmet is the Fox Flux 2. Unfortunately, it doesn't have MIPS, but it's a great option if you're not doing any crazy gnarly riding. The ratings on the Flux 2 average at about 4.5 stars, with a lot of people claiming it's pretty comfortable and it's good value for money. Coming in at $60 Australian, you can't really go wrong with the Flux. Our next option is the 661 Recon Scout. This is a pretty cool looking helmet, and at $80 it's pretty much a steal. The ratings on the Recon Scout average at about 4.5 as well, and the majority of the reviews say they've never had an issue with it and it's definitely worth the money. Stepping the price up a little bit now, we're going to go to our first MIPS helmet. The next helmet is the Fox Speedframe MIPS. I personally use the Fox Speedframe Pro, and personally I love it. It's the best helmet I've ever had. I can't really speak for the Speedframe MIPS, but I'm assuming it's the same thing. Coming in at $189 Australian, this helmet is definitely worth the money. It'll do a great job protecting your skull, and it was even voted one of the best looking helmets for 2020. Next, we'll look at some knee pads. Knee pads aren't entirely necessary, but I definitely recommend them for any kind of downhill riding. Knee pads are a little bit less crucial, and you can cheap out on them just a little bit. Most of them will offer pretty similar protection. First and cheapest are the Race Face Charge knee pads. These knee pads have very high ratings, and a lot of people claim that once they put them on, they forget they're on. Apparently, they're extremely comfortable and do a decent job at protecting your knees. In my opinion, they're definitely not the greatest looking knee pads, but for $62.99 you can't really go wrong. Next, we'll look at the Ion K-sleeves. The K-sleeves have pretty good protection considering the price. Once again, the reviews and ratings are high, and they look much better than the Race Face Chargers in my opinion. And for just $30 more, coming in at $90 Australian, the K-sleeves are a great option. Finally, and most expensive, we have the IXS Carve knee pads. These are the knee pads I use, and they offer great protection, and they're definitely the most comfortable pads I've ever worn. For the first week, I was worried that they weren't comfortable, but after wearing them in, they felt great. The Carves offer front and side protection, which I would highly recommend if you're doing any fast or janky riding. Coming in at $130 Australian, the Carves are definitely worth the money, and I'd highly recommend them. Next, we'll look at some mountain biking shoes. Mountain biking specific shoes aren't really necessary, but once you've worn them, you'll never go back. I used to think that spending $200 on mountain bike shoes was a little bit ridiculous, but now that I've got them, I love them. First, we have the 510 Sleuths. These are a great introduction mountain bike shoe, and everyone in the reviews seems to love them. Apparently, the grip is great, but they wear out quite fast, so you might have to buy a new pair every year or two. So if you're on a really tight budget, the 510 Sleuths are a great option, coming in at $90 Australian. However, I'd probably recommend spending a little bit more money and getting something that'll last a bit longer. Next, we have the Gyro Jacket 2s. In my opinion, these shoes look so good. They're extremely popular because of their price, looks, and quality. The reviews on the Jacket 2s are mostly really good, with only a few horror stories of rubber falling off and shoes tearing. So if you have a little bit more to spend at 118 Australian dollars, the Jacket 2s are definitely a great option. Finally, we have the 510 Impact Pros. These are a high-end mountain bike shoe, but you definitely get what you pay for. These shoes have incredible grip, and all of my friends that have them claim they're the best shoes they've ever worn. After trying out a friend's pair, I was genuinely scared to ride because it felt like I was clipped in. So these will definitely be my next mountain bike shoes when I'm due for newbies. Coming in at 220 Australian dollars, these shoes are definitely expensive, but you get what you pay for. Next, we'll look at some mountain bike shorts. Buying mountain bike specific shorts may seem a little bit stupid, but once you've got them, you'll love them. Since they're designed for mountain biking, they have the right size pockets, right amount of pockets, and they're comfortable. First, we have the Troy Lee designed sprint shorts. The reviews on these are pretty good, however some people have had issues with them tearing or ripping. At $50 Australian, the Fox Sprints are a great budget option, if you're willing to break out the sewing kit every now and again. Next, we have the Fox Ranger Light Shorts. In my opinion, these are some really good looking shorts, and apparently they're pretty comfortable as well. They're a little bit more expensive, coming in at $80 Australian. However, like most things, you get what you pay for. And the Ranger Lights are another great option for some mountain bike shorts. Finally, we'll look at the Ground Effect Juggernauts. These are definitely not budget shorts, but they are some of the best quality shorts I know of. One of my mates has these shorts, and he's had them for about 4 years now, and he's never experienced any durability issues. They look extremely good, and Ground Effect is just a great company in general. So if you have a spare bit of money to spend on some mountain biking shorts, I'd highly recommend the Juggernauts, which come in at $180 Australian. But it's a little bit hard to justify spending over $100 more than the other shorts. Next, we're going to look at some gloves. In my opinion, gloves aren't important at all, but you guys roast me in the comments for not wearing them. First, we have the Troy Lee Designs Air Gloves. These are extremely cheap and offer a small layer of protection. However, they won't won't really protect the tops of your hands in a crash. Coming in at just $8 Australian, these gloves are definitely worth trying out. And if you don't like them, it's only $8. Next, we have the Fox Ranger gloves. Most of the reviews on the Rangers are pretty good. A few people have had issues with tears and seams ripping, but overall they seem pretty good. At $23 Australian, it's a fairly low risk purchase, so I'd recommend grabbing a pair and seeing if you'd like them. Last, we have the Gyro Rivet 2s. These come in at $25 Australian and have very high reviews and good comfort. I'd personally never spend more than $30 on gloves because they're gonna get worn out anyway. Next, we'll talk about some jerseys. In my opinion, jerseys are absolutely not necessary. I've never worn a mountain bike jersey and I doubt that I ever will, but if you want to look sick and have insane ventilation while you ride, maybe get yourself one. I probably wouldn't spend more than $30. Lastly, we'll look at some full face helmets. These are only necessary if you're doing some gnarly downhill riding or you have a tendency to crash pretty often. For my first 8 months of riding, I only wore a full face helmet because I didn't own anything else. I guess that was kind of a good thing because I crashed quite a bit back then, but now I'd get so sick of wearing it for every ride. Firstly, we have the 661 Comp helmet. This is the helmet I have and it's pretty nice. It's pretty comfortable and it's fairly light as well. The visibility is a little bit hindered, but you kind of have to expect that since it's a full face. It looks pretty good and it's provided a nice amount of protection through some of my harder crashes. Coming in at $130, the 661 Comp helmet is not a bad option. Next, we have the Bell Sanction. The Sanction is a great mountain bike helmet and it provides a lot of protection. Once again, I'd highly recommend cheaping out on mountain bike helmets, but if $150 is all you have, then the Sanction might be a good option. Lastly, we have the Liat MTB 1.0. This helmet offers great protection and it actually looks pretty sick. I personally have never used one, so I can't speak for comfort and visibility, but the reviews are filled with people who seem pretty happy with it. If you have $160 to spend, the Liat MTB 1.0 might be a great choice for you. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe down below. It would help me out heaps. And let me know if you want more videos like this, because I'd be happy to do them. And with that out of the way, I'll see you guys in the next one.